today.
Yeah, and still certainly warmed up after going the distance with Furia. It'll be a different look this time around with SSG on the opposite end of the field. Again, winner into the top 8. This is G2's second shot at it, as Daniel gonna take charge early on. JNAP's that initial save. And if you're G2, you might have liked to maybe go about 30-45 seconds without having to face a tough shot after playing Furia for 5 games, but here we are, off to the races.
I mean, it's all about just resetting right now, resetting the mental for G2. I know coming off those close Game 5 OTs, you could have gone either way. You know, you're 1 goal away from going 3-0 in Swiss. You're looking like $1 million up there with FaZe, but now they've got to regain, and, you know, they're not versing any team, just any team stacks. They're versing Spacestation Gaming.
Yeah, the big talk being, of course, LJ being added in the offseason. He was the sought-after guy for a lot of North American teams, even though he had signed that extension, reportedly, with Oxygen. I think everybody kind of knew that he would be available to teams once we hit that offseason. Here he is now with a new look, and I'm sure he seems to be loving it. Here's Daniel. Flick shot on, easily sent away by Chicago. Right over towards Atomic. JNAP's in LJ's way and trying to chase down Chicago downfield. Has he chased him enough? No, Chicago recovers, even with LJ trying to take him out.
Oh, this is such a measured start. This is like 2 old buddies just having a little tango back and forth at the moment. They're both trying to figure each other out. Little fake for LJ. Might come off. Daniel is lurking, looking for the air dribble. JNAP does parry it away. I love this start stacks. This is, again, they've played each other 1,000,000 times, and it's a chess match.
Oh, Daniel crisscrossing in front, and LJ will get an assist. That's certainly going to get his confidence up as he forced that ball through, and Daniel gets around Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago just putting his controller down there. Not much he can do. Great placement in behind. Broke his ankles in the net, but great start here. Spacestation Gaming with all the pressure, all the control early.
Atomic trying to play around LJ for JNAP's to Chicago, and we're tied up just like that.
I mean, that's the classic G2 pass play that we love. Atomic off the roof, infield, JNAP's bang, one across, and Chicago again putting it behind 2 Space Station defenders. They're looking pretty warm, Stacks.
Yeah, no kidding. I think both these teams, they've had plenty of experience so far in this event as Daniel pinched one downfield. JNAP's is right there for it. Looked cool, didn't fool anybody as Chicago throws one all the way across. JNAP's got the demolition, and Arsenal jumps in front with LJ making the initial save. That was a little hairy for the Space Station defense. Now G2 has to play D, and Atomic just keeps him out. And Arsenal thought about the shot and instead plays to the corner, and again, nobody bothered by it.
I mean, just going back to that the pinch from Daniel, we're seeing teams having to respect Stacks, the pinches, and now the Psychos. Gyro hitting one in the qualifiers. Daniel over the top. Stop it. What an air dribble.
Oh, this is fantastic stuff. The offense just keeps rolling back and forth. Arsenal in Chicago's way, delaying him just enough. And poor Chicago has just been a target for all these SSG attackers. You had LJ chasing him around a moment ago. It just seems like he can't get any space to get comfortable at all.
Yeah, he's just getting 2v1 at the moment. Look at the bump plays from Space Station. This is a clear game plan coming out from the side of Chrome here. They know the bump plays will get into G2's half as the pinch almost comes across. Arsenal does take it away, but the aggression right now, that's the difference between these two teams. We're seeing a lot more physicality for Space Station, and G2 can't quite handle it at the moment.
Yeah, worked for Furia. They were especially dangerous when they were able to kind of knock around G2's cars, as Daniel will guide this away from Atomic. We talk about Chrome, one of the better in the business. And probably on the other side, another one who's going to be highly regarded when all is said and done. Sathu leading the charge over at G2. As Chicago with Atomic running forward. Atomic's got to cycle out and let JNAP's take over, which he does. Arsenal's got to have this, and he had that as well, but Chicago had the read as well. And a lot of familiarity between all of these players. This is decidedly not the first time they've met each other in a high-stakes matchup.
I mean, thousands of games going back and forth, and right now it is Space Station that are getting the upper hand. LJ backwards, taking off the air dribble, but the bumps, and now might be coming out for G2 and the passes. The signature G2 pass play stacks. I mean, if they can get those going, that could be the difference. But right now, it's been Space Station looking to push forward. JNap's trying to answer back. Off the backboard, miss coming out. I think he might have saved that. Atomic could have had the angle. But again, we're still looking for a goal on the side of G2. Arsenal parries it away. 45 on the clock stacks. Can they get the equaliser?
Well, Daniel, a good win there to slow down G2, but it's Atomic coming away. JNap tried to get Arsenal coming across, and then Chicago's shot, nothing behind it, and not on target. 30 seconds remain. Trying to center here, but LJ's there. Nobody from G2 in the vicinity. And Daniel jumps up to intercept this ball. SSG holding on to a 1-goal lead for now, 20 more seconds. LJ around the boards, more time wasted. G2's got to get on the move. That's a good pop by Atomic. Chicago chases it down, so too does JNaps. Over to Atomic, the pass was on point, but still no shot. And now with only 3 seconds left, they got to go into scramble mode. Somehow keep this ball in the air, and they don't. And Space Station Gaming starts the series off with a dub.
Strong start from Space Station. It was a physicality coming out. G2 perhaps still feeling that Game 5 OT loss against Furia, but the pressure started to pick up towards the end of that game stacks. G2 started looking control, whether that was Space Station Gaming just pumping the brakes a little bit, trying to lock in that dub, or G2 might be getting warmed up into this one.
Well, going all the way back to round 2 for G2, that's now 7 games in a row, Leaf, decided by just 1 goal.
Well, I'm going to tell you what else is being decided around the board here. We talked about NRG coming into this one, how they're looking and how they're doing, but NRG getting a first win off of Dignitas. It was close, though. I do believe into overtime. Yeah, minute and 40 over into overtime. Complexity getting their win over V1, and then I believe V1 is getting their battle back right now, up 2-0 in game number 2. Huge for 26 Rising. They're 1-up on Optic Gaming. They're one of those teams that have everything that in their control. They got to get their wins. Not going so well for FOB. Big win here, though, for Axel. They're up 4-1 in game 2 with already a game win over Gen G. So Gen G having a rough day today. Yeah.
Well, you know, you wonder, right, CJ? I mean, you've seen this in OCE2. A team will kind of pop off for one regional, then they come back in a couple weeks, and it's not quite the same as Daniel gets the scoring started for SSG here.
Yeah, Daniel popping off. I agree with your stacks. And Axel, you know, may seem surprised. Obviously, Gen G coming top 2 last regional, but I was speaking to a few of the North American pros, and that's the team that, you know, that's the upset. That's the dark horse, the smoky team in the North American region, outside, I guess, the regular top 7, top 8, that, you know, they wouldn't be surprised to look into that quarterfinal, stuff like that out of the main event. So perhaps a surprise, but, you know, internally, they're pretty rated.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that earlier, too. They had a kind of a tough road in the Fall Open, and they're a team that, with the right set of circumstances, could make some noise here in the Fall Cup. So, been a good shout so far as Team Axel already have played their way into the Invitational, and with a good finish here, they could make some noise and maybe play their way into a major. There's a lot of business to take care of before we get to that point, including what we've got here with SSG leading on Aquadome, another early lead for Space Station. Daniel, second touch, will send one all the way downfield. Chicago with a full tank of boost. We'll try and lob one forward for Atomic to come up. Indirect shot is just a little bit wide, but he can keep this play alive around Daniel. And, Chicago kind of bailed out there, and I wonder if maybe he stayed with that play, if he could have maybe forced that through with the interference. Doesn't matter. He'll get his in the end.
Chicago, it almost like he faked the flip reset, looked to put it to the right-hand side of the goal. LJ just pre-jumped right side, and Chicago didn't really get anything on that stacks. Got the flip reset, but it just went straight ahead. Great shot. And again, we've seen, 3 goals in a row right now, just chucking it behind the defender, trying to, I guess, outsmart that last man, and it's worked again.
You have to imagine, regardless of this result, G2 would still be a favorite to get into the top 8 if they drop this, but boy, every game it feels like in their run here in the Fall Cup has been a closely contested game, as Chicago trying to hang around in the air, and Arsenal and Daniel combined to dispossess him. And LJ right there, over top of JNaps. And LJ and Arsenal couldn't quite combine for any kind of magic on that effort. And it's Daniel all alone at the back, but plenty of time to work with.
I mean, both teams just wouldn't be wanted to be playing each other in round 4 stacks. Like this feels like a round 3 matchup. The loser, you're going to round 5, and then we speak about game 5s, game 7s. Round 5 similar. All bets are off. It's just who can handle the pressure most. So this is a crucial game right here. Space Station getting the early game win, getting the early goal as well in this game, and that's a bit of a recurring trend, Stacks. We saw in the last series, Fury just getting an early goal lead. Obviously, G2 getting the equalizer here, but G2 seemingly starting a little bit slower in each game than their counterparts.
Atomic does well to get this ball to JNaps and let him work. Atomic will file in behind. And Chicago, there's the safety valve at midfield. It's got to kind of spy Arsenal and watch this go deep into the corner. And he finally takes that away from LJ. Arsenal's shot, easily blocked by Atomic, but not cleared. And Atomic got a piece of this one as well, coming off the backboard. G2 up against it right now, deep in their own zone, and Daniel finds the spot.
G2 are just having to pre-jump saves left, right, and center, and that's because of the physical play. The bump plays coming out on the side of Space Station. Arsenal, you are being an absolute pest, my friend, in the G2 net. Great shot coming out. And again, Daniel, 2 goals on the board. He's been influential in this series.
Stop me if you've heard this one before. Daniel's got all the goals for Space Station Gaming in this series. He's got all 4. LJ just picked up his 3rd assist. As Chicago out of the corner, Arsenal's there. And he'll just guide that away from JNaps and force Atomic to clear one away and give it right back to SSG. Here's Daniel up to the ceiling. Are you kidding me? All the way back downfield, and G2 got to be shaking their heads for a moment going, what do we got to do to beat these guys?
He just makes it look so easy, doesn't he, moving forward? JNaps trying to bring out a similar vein of mechanical prowess, not quite. Now it's G2 looking to get back in control. JNaps misses the corner boost, pushing forward. This could be dangerous. Arsenal could be an open net. Let's pan back, Stacks. It's the classic corner boost miss, and I've been prone to this one a few times. Oh no, he just didn't come up.
Whoopsies. Well, he got the corner boost in the end, right? That's all that matters.
Yeah.
He's got 100 boosts to celebrate that goal.
Yeah, it'll look good on the stats at the end. He's picking up those big boosts, but
yeah,
unfortunately,
exactly.
it's not, as I say, it's not buttering the parsnips for G2 Stacks. It's not, I don't know, I'm caramelizing the bacon for them, you know what I'm saying? It's just not quite enough. We got a 2-goal lead coming out from Space Station, and this will put them on match point. These are best of 5s as well. You got to remember, I'm just used to best of 7 stacks when you've got a G2 Space Station gaming matchup, but this could be it.
I know, and the only time we ever see you on this particular stream, it's always in a best of 7 as well. We're used to seeing you on the big games. This one certainly feeling big for G2 right now. They are facing a big challenge. JNap's shot denied by Arsenal. And LJ just going to take his time, force Chicago to come in. I mean, and you've been in this spot, of course, CJ, a team trying to kind of kill off the final 30, 40 seconds. It just feels like you've got the entire game in the palm of your hand.
Absolutely, but a lot of teams still succumb to that pressure. They want to keep playing the same, and then they start panicking, and right now, G2, they're not getting a look in down the other end of the field. They've got 2 goals to get, 10 seconds on the clock. Space Station, stop
my
it!
God!
Daniel with the skimmy dim Sam. Oh, that's a hat trick as well.
That is a top play. My gosh. Daniel.
Stop it.
A living highlight reel. Puts an exclamation point on this one. It ends a streak of 7 straight games decided by 1 goal for G2. Certainly not the way G2 would have liked to end that streak. As LJ swats one away. One more for good measure, perhaps, as Arsenal, he let it go with Daniel falling in behind him. SSG.
Wow.
What a statement. Up 2.
I mean, when Daniel's in this kind of form, Stacks, just put your controller down and watch the show. There's not much G2 could do about that one. This guy is feeling himself here. What a game coming out. A hat trick. He got the early goal, put the pressure on G2, and then he just put the foot down. I mean, he wasn't letting up from there. And as I said, we're talking about the pinches, the psychos. These off-the-wall skim stacks, you just have to start respecting them from players like Daniel because he's hitting them, 60, 70% of the time.
Leaf, that was sick.
Leaf, talk.
What was that last goal? You know, I'm sure Leaf is telling the
I'm
audience
agreeing with you.
a lot of great things, but boy, we'd love to hear you.
So yeah, no, that moment of silence that you had just after, well, that would have been the same for me. That was a brilliant shot at the end. A quick update because we're getting back into this game here. I just want to let you guys know that Axel 6-1'd Gen G in game 2. So they're at match point right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so that looks good for them. And 26 Rising actually at match point over Optic as well.
Against Optic. That's just crazy. Look, North America is wildly volatile. LJ gets his first goal of this series.
What is that from Arsenal?
4 assists.
Are you serious?
Fully displayed the
Arsenal's
1v3.
Arsenal's pre-flip there, got a flip reset off it, then flip forward and bump the defender. I mean, when it's your day, it's your day. That's all I can say about that. That's copium, I guess, for the losing team, you could say. But, I mean, Space Station, they're doing it all. Everyone on the pitch is doing it all, not just Daniel. Arsenal there, just that's his signature trademark physical sort of play coming out.
Well, G2 has to find a way to recover now, not just after dropping that Game 5 in overtime, a closely contested series, being oh so close to the top 8 against Furia. Now, they got to find a way to recover from just the Daniel beatdown they received in Game 2, and already down a goal here. Daniel again. Just stop it already, as Atomic will set it away. And now Arsenal's got LJ as an option. LJ coming in and Atomic swatted away.
I mean, it's just so, I was going to say control coming out. The demo could open things up here for G2. JNaps goes to the solo play, instant challenge by Arsenal. He had to go, he had to commit. Does so on Space Station Gaming stacks. I mean, they're just not giving G2 an inch here. They're getting the early goals and then just locking it down in their half. Super impressive stuff.
G2 fans, cup your ears. Your team's only scored first one time in the last 8 games. Teams are just under 18% to win in this event when their opponent scores first. Chicago guides one out to the corner. All right, you can tell all your G2 fan friends to uncup their ears now. We've got important stuff to say, like LJ launching one to the backboard and JNaps there to send that out to the corner. But again, SSG keeping the pressure on. That's finally a good release out of G2. Can they take advantage? No.
Again, they're just G2. They can't commit all 3 stacks, and that's the bump pressure. No, that's a poor touch with JNaps. Follow up Arsenal. LJ just reads JNaps there. He just parries it off. He fends it off to midfield, but it was Arsenal's touch. It got him so awkward, and LJ's right there. Arsenal's right there. Space Station, they're just willing to push forward, push into their half, get aggressive, and they're getting the results.
Just over 2 minutes gone by, and yeah, it's a great call out. That touch from Arsenal just completely freezing JNaps and put him in an impossible spot. SSG have gotten their way here. Atomic, quick turn. Over to Chicago. Big shot, and it's high and wide just off the frame. And JNaps now trying to play that one as close as he could, but he's got to bail out. And Atomic all the way across. He's got to make the turn after grabbing the midfield boost. Can't really do anything with that ball except leave it for JNaps. They're trying to get these passes together. They're trying to get each other involved here, CJ, but again, it's just not been good enough. This time, shot wide. SSG doesn't pounce on it. That shot off the crossbar, finally in from JNaps.
JNaps, stop it. There it is. I thought it might have just not been their day, and JNaps usually buries those top bins. Have a look at the follow-up, though, off the side post, redirect back on net. That's what they need, Stacks. They need a little bit of hope. They need some luck going their way, because right now, Space Station, they're in form and they're looking strong. And, I mean, G2, they just have to start creating something. They have to start looking for some bumps.
Atomic trying to play that one cleverly around. Chicago to JNaps.
Here we go.
It's high follow. This time does not go. And Atomic didn't get up in time. Arsenal wins that challenge. Here's LJ. Tried to play it close, getting the flip reset. And then he kind of went across Chicago's face, and that forced Chicago to pump the brakes. And G2 not able to break out onto the offensive end like they would have liked. LJ got this through traffic. Second touch does not go. Both teams have been oh so close to kind of lighting up the scoreboard, but it remains just 2-1. Only the 1 goal deficit for G2 to overcome here with 1:20.
I mean, the difference for me right now is G2, they're prone to those three-man pass plays. They want to incorporate, include everyone, but Space Station, they're not letting that third man get involved. They're looking for the bumps. They're always sending one downfield stack. So you see this third man, he's on an island. He's by himself hanging out. He's cooking a barbecue in the back half of the field because he just can't get involved. There's the bumps coming out. They have to respect the physical play from Space Station, and G2 without three men in the offense stacks, they're just not as threatening.
Chicago met by Daniel. Atomic, it's a little awkward for him, but he's able to find JNaps. JNaps so quickly through, left for Atomic. Arsenal swats it away. Chicago there, batted out by Daniel. Now Atomic, he tried to serve up JNaps, perhaps when Chicago comes in. They took care of JNaps at the back, but they never marched Chicago. Tie game.
And they're not marking Atomic either. He gets a beautiful touch across off the wall, just keeping. He's being the pest now. That's what we need. I'm talking about pests. I'm not insulting them, Stacks. I'm just saying they're being annoying. They're being a nuisance in the forward half of the field. That's what we need coming out from G2. Space Station, they've been doing it all series, but finally we get some life. We get an equalizer here on the side of G2, should I say, and maybe now that'll cause Space Station to start hesitating, start doubting their offensive structure. And Chicago now, they've got the boost, they've got the control, they're pushing forward. That flip reset looked like me in OCE. Not quite great.
LJ tried to play it away, and JNaps brought it right back in front. Overtime looming now in the final seconds of regulation. Daniel dancing through the air as he does. Arsenal keep it up. But Chicago now, there's nobody back for SSG, and G2 made him pay for it.
Oh, we talk about luck. Give them something to believe in, the G2 fans at home, and this might be it. The reverse sweep could be on the cards. Momentum on the side of G2. Atomic finds the open net. Space Station Gaming Stacks overcommitting 0 seconds. Do you need to send the whole Barrett, the whole troops into the offensive half? It's not paid off there, and G2, they just capitalize on those sort of errors.
One last throw of the dice for SSG, and it comes up Snake Eyes back in their own net as G2. Boy, that's got to be a big sigh of relief. The way they gave up a couple of those goals, we saw that one bounce in from Arsenal, then JNaps getting one of his own. But this one right here, Leaf, gives G2 some life here in the fourth round.
Yeah, well, I also don't know if it's so much as a throw of the dice as it was just a throw in general there. As CJ said, it does feel a bit odd that at that moment that you push everything up. But I do want to give some updates, of course, across the board. Finally, the Energy Dignitas match is into game 3. They had a bit of a delay going on. Team Axel, 1 minute left, 1 goal up against Gen G right now to secure themselves a win through. So that's, in my opinion, surprising that Gen G is having a bit of trouble on the day. And 26 Rising, I can't tell if they just finished. I think they did. Optic Gaming did bring a win back. They're still on match point right now. And FOB, I believe, is grabbing themselves a match point situation as well soon. Oh, they're in overtime, actually.
Okay. Well, as those results go final, we will be checking in with you and see who else will play their way into that Fall Invitational. 2 spots up for grabs with 3 teams. 2 of them are alive in this event. You just heard about them as that shot just harmlessly goes across the goal line. Big sigh of relief for G2 and their fans. But SSG back on the attack as they have been at the start of each game in this series.
G2 just starting slow, and we've got the stats to confirm that as well. G2 have scored the first goal just once in their past 8 games. Could be their past 9 games here. There's just a bit of a trend off the bat. Yeah, this could be again Daniel open net. No, he just hits it off the bar. LJ's going to be able to keep the ball in, but that's a chance gone begging. You just think, Stacks, that for Daniel, the form he's been in this series, that's every day of the week sort of stuff for him to bury that one.
Just all the demolitions all over the field between 2 teams that have kind of made their money in this event off of demos. Both of them in the top 3 or 4 in demos per game, but certainly an abnormal rate here in the first minute. As JNaps will lob one away, they might even be at their tournament average with just this opening minute. Here goes Daniel. Flip reset, trying to get through the defense of Chicago and Atomic. Nothing doing there. LJ's not on the field, and Arsenal didn't get the touch he wanted. Atomic up to the heavens, double tap denied by Daniel. How did he get there?
And this is the first time we saw just SSG. They're looking a little bit crept. Arsenal getting the ball over the top of him. He's pushing up a little bit too hard, second man. And G2, they might be getting a big control, but as I say, that air dribble coming out from LJ, and we're still seeing Space Station push forward stacks. They're looking to isolate that third man, get him out of the game, but the rest of the Space Station members, they're sitting a bit deeper. Perhaps that's the pressure, or it's what G2 needed. They just needed that one game win. They needed a little bit of momentum for Space Station to just get out of their face a little bit.
Arsenal trying to 1v2 against Atomic and J-Naps. And Naps might have wanted to kind of head off to the corner, but instead had to turn and make that save. Now Chicago needs a second touch. Instead, he still got around LJ. I think LJ was playing for the double. And Atomic now right down Broadway, and Arsenal's there to stop that, as was Daniel. So everything is kind of settled down now after a very physical opening minute. Teams going back to, playing traditional Rocket League, except Atomic, who goes through LJ, got his shot away. And Arsenal around the corner, nothing there as Chicago cut him off.
Yeah, it's just looking like the start of game one here again. We're just seeing both teams feeling each other out, and that's a positive right now for G2 because Space Station had so much control. J-Naps is going to try and get a dunk, 50-50 off the backboard follow-up. Chicago's lurking, trying to keep it in. But Arsenal again pushing downfield. We're just seeing Space Station backing off a little bit more. I alluded to it a little bit earlier, but that's a bad. What a shot coming out from Atomic. There is nothing Daniel could do about that one. That is top bin slotted. And have a look at the speed stacks.
Oh, gosh. It only registers as 40 after the deflection, but that looked like it had to be high 80s at least going to the net. And G2 get a rare opening goal here in this series. LJ trying to get through Atomic. See how SSG does now, playing from behind as Chicago dances around Arsenal. Only Daniel now at the back, but he gets that away from Chicago. Let that ball get away from him a little too much. Daniel threatening, and J-Naps the easy save. His third here in game 4. Another game that G2 has to win. At least have it on the good side for now with 90 seconds left.
G2, they're just doing a little bit better now, forcing out and I guess dealing with the pressure, dealing with the bump plays coming out on the third man. Daniel, though, he's got a little bit of space, but he has absolutely no flip and nothing. Oh no, a double commit coming out. This could be open on the side of Space Station Gaming. The double commit, double backflip, double pull out coming out there, Stacks. They both wanted it, and then they both didn't want it.
Well, I imagine the Canadian judge would have given them about a solid 8 out of 10 on their synchronized backflipping act. But that does not get you anywhere here in this tournament. J-Naps looking maybe for the knockout blow here in game 4. But instead, there's still a little bit of life for SSG with just over a minute to go. Man, they have looked like a very, very different team from, I would say, maybe the last minute of game 3. All the way to now as LJ trying to find Arsenal. Daniel's up ahead and Atomic's in the way. G2 oh so close now to getting one step closer to a reverse sweep. And that's becoming a theme here in this round. Leaf will be around to tell us all about it when this one wraps up in about 35 seconds.
Well, hopefully 35 seconds for G2, but Space Station want to have other thoughts about that. Looks like we are hearing of some interesting potential reverse sweeps. Could have one here and could be one of the games of the Swiss stage right now. G2, 20 seconds on the clock. They're 2 goals up. This is where they're built for this. They've been scrimming, practicing for destruction.
Oh.
No, I think Daniel might have helped save that. He was looking for the bump, but he just joined in the G2 defense there. 6 seconds on the clock, 5 seconds. That looks like all she wrote, Stacks. We're going to have game number 5. G2 2-0 down, forcing it all the way back to 2-2. Reverse sweep on the cards. Game on, ladies and gentlemen.
That is G2's biggest win in this tournament since a 3-0 shutout over version 1 in the middle of their series back in round 2. They finally get a multi-goal victory. They finally get another shutout. A reverse sweep in the making. Leaf, there's a couple others that are really getting interesting.
We got game 5s across the board right now. Complexity version 1 just starting there. Game 5 still 0-0. We have Team Axel and Gen G both at 2-2 apiece on the scoreboard in their game 5 right now. And then we also have, I believe it was Optic Gaming just forcing a game 5 against 26 Rising. Yeah, which I believe would also be a reverse sweep if they can pull that off. So a lot of teams that look like they might start plowing through with the 3-0s may have forgot that they got another game that they have to win, and things are turning around. So yeah, juicy across the board, and a quick update on NRG's match. 30 seconds left right now, match point for NRG, and they're up 2 goals. So it looks like they might be able to take down Dignitas unless anything crazy happens the next 20 seconds.
Okay, well, thank you, Leaf. Here we go to Champions Field, CJ.
Champions Field, Stacks. This is where you want to be. This is where, you know, we saw Turbo Pulsar. He basically renamed this field after himself. Unfortunately, right now, Stacks, that's not quite the case in Turbo's career, but alas, here we've got 2 of the premier, the prime teams in the North American region. 2 of the best teams in the world going toe-to-toe, head-to-head, game 5. And we spoke about at the start, you've got to throw the playbook out right now, Stacks. It's all about moments in game number 5. Who's going to step up? Who's going to hit that shot and make the most of the opportunity?
Everything that has happened in this series, completely irrelevant now. 1 game to put a team into the top 8 and to put one other team into round 5 in another do-or-die situation. Atomic looking for a pinch. No, instead he just keeps that to himself. And Daniel right there in his face, up in the air. Chicago, clean win. But nobody else there. Jane Apps took his time, picked his spot. Nobody jumped. It was high and wide. And now LJ trying to get around Atomic, but Chicago is back. First minute goes by, rather pedestrian between G2 and Space Station Gaming. This looked like it was a sweep in the making here, CJ. And all of a sudden, G2's come alive. Can they score early again? No, Arsenal with the save on Jane Apps.
What a save. Arsenal coming out again. I was just about to say Space Station. They look like they're starting to think about it a little bit. They're starting to hesitate in defense. They're not sending that first man instantly like we saw. The confidence is starting to drop, and we're seeing some crazy saves. And it's a win from Daniel. No! Oh, that would have been disastrous, Stacks, if that was the first goal on the board for G2. Daniel does get bailed out by LJ, and they do take it down the other end, but we're starting to see a little bit of pressure coming out. This could be open. Jane Apps does cover the side of G2. Oh, we're just seeing moments, Stacks. We're seeing little moments. That's what Game 5 does to players.
Here goes Daniel trying to get around Atomic. He has, and Jane Apps there for the stop. If there's anybody in this event that you would think, okay, they might actually be able to 1v3, it's that man, Daniel, and off the demolition, it comes right out to him. 1-0 SSG.
It's that man indeed. We speak about moments. He's made up for it there. Almost down the other end, costs the goal, but goes straight there, puts that shot away. When you get an opportunity, when you're on Champions Field, you've just got to sink it, Stacks. You've got to put that one away, and that's what he does. But for G2, again, this has been a growing theme. They're just not scoring the first goal of the game right now. The percentages aren't looking great, but it is Game 5. Anything's possible. There's a lot of time on the clock.
Oh, Atomic, second touch sets up Chicago, and LJ somehow in the right spot to send that out. And now LJ again around Atomic, but Jane Apps, the initial stop. Daniel calls off Arsenal. Daniel trying to twist through, and Chicago, the initial stop there. Not out of the woods, though, as Arsenal is tracking Jane Apps. Daniel starting to creep up. Can Arsenal hit him? Not so much, and Atomic gets by both Arsenal and Daniel. Opportunity now for G2. It's Chicago, and swatted out by LJ.
Oh, just a lovely defense again. Swatting away. G2, they're looking threatening. They're looking to push forward. Space Station Gaming, can they keep the pressure on us? Tell you what, a demo coming out could be that. Oh, Chicago can't reach it. The demo comes out in the backfield. Arsenal on the wall. Follow-up touch. Look at the placement. Chicago just creeping out for that small pad, and he can't get back to the other side of the net. Space Station Gaming 2-0. They're looking strong, and they're looking to make the main event here.
Another goal set up by a demolition right out in front of the net. SSG up by 2, and Chicago's got to scramble back. And at this point, G2 kind of has to start throwing caution to the wind. It doesn't matter how many more goals you concede if you can't score any of your own. Arsenal's up. More demos coming out now from LJ and Space Station. And it just seems like now, CJ, SSG is constantly playing with a one-man advantage.
They are. They're just pushing forward. And G2, I mean, they're making pass plays in the backfield, but there's just no one really ready for it. There's no one looking to push downfield. And, I mean, we spoke about G2 almost on the brink of reverse sweeping Space Station. This could be open. This could be the opportunity. This is what they need. I was about to say, Stacks, if they lose this one, they could get reverse swept in the Swiss stage, not alone the game. They're looking to go the other way with it, and this could be the opportunity they need right now. 1 goal back. There's still 1 minute on the clock. There's plenty of time. They just need to set up an opportunity, and they've got to make the most of it.
Chicago running ahead, and as great as LJ has been defensively, once he was taken off the field, it was just crippling for the SSG defense. Chicago has that bounce right back out. J-Naps is there. Go to his LJ. A rare L for LJ, though, on that challenge as J-Naps got it through. And Atomic, sent away by Daniel, along with the ball up in the air. Chicago, great touch to set up J-Naps, set high. Atomic can't get a shot off. Oh my goodness, that was the opportunity. And now G2 have to reset. How many more like that are they gonna get?
Oh, Atomic, he just went for too much of an angle there. He just tried to take it too much. He didn't quite have the boost to get all the way around it, but in the end, he just bit off more than he could chew. Too much of an angle. That could be the chance going B. Stacks, we got 15 seconds on the clock.
Atomic doesn't get the touch he needed. Oh, everybody kind of ball hawking at this point. As Chicago, J-Naps, Atomic, they're all bunched up in the corner. Daniel just dancing in the air, trying to play keep away. One last push now for G2. We've seen some last second heroics at the end of regulation. This would be the best of them all. J-Naps is there in the middle of the field. Chicago's got a full tank of boost. They've got to find a way to get it to him, and they do. With Chicago coming up, SSG tried to kill that, unsuccessful, and Atomic still doing just enough to keep it in the air. Oh, this is a high wire act if I ever saw one. Atomic over to it. J-Naps finally kills it. And Space Station Gaming can't get out of there quick enough as they survive and advance to the top 8.
I mean, G2, they fought tooth and nail all the way back to Game 5, but unfortunately now, they almost reversed swept Stacks, but as I said, they were 2-0 in the Swiss, and now they're 2-2. They're on Game 5. They're facing a reverse sweep in the whole Swiss stage, let alone trying to reverse sweep games.
Well. Leaf,
Yeah.
where are we headed?
We have a lot of our matches finished now with this one being done. We're going to go over after these highlights and watch the Optic 26 Rising because they have a minute left. And Optic is up 2-1 right now. Game 5, this was 26 Rising trying to